Actually, don't know how to check if we're live.
Should I look it up?
Yeah. Just go to my YouTube channel real quick. Go to CCXJ and see if we're already live. And if you can confirm, then we'll start.
Oh, I found it. Oh, dang, yeah.
We're live?
Dude, yeah, we're actually pretty live. That's pretty dope.
All right. Okay, we can start. I'm gonna quickly introduce myself because if you're watching this, you probably already know who I am. But if you don't, my name is Jay. I go by CCXJ as my artist name. I produce, engineer, record music, do a bunch of other stuff at my day-to-day job, right? Which I don't like to call my career, but I'm also a car salesman. And this here is Jaime. He's also a car salesman. I'll let him introduce himself and he can say what he does.
Yeah, so my name is Jaime, right? I mean, what are we really saying? We're just saying what we do?
Yeah, what do you do?
So I've been in the car business for a little over 5 years, right? A lot of sales, right? I've done a little bit of high-ticket sales in between two dealership jobs, right? Some work-from-home sales, some door-to-door sales, too. Background, I like to work out a lot. Definitely have some high school athlete background, too. A lot of football, high school Texas football, you know. Just kind of like competitive person, you know, kind of goes hand in hand with sales. I would say maybe this is my job right now, selling cars, but definitely not the thing I want to be known as my career too. But yeah, it's pretty much it's not that deep, you know.
Yeah, it's just a hard thing to avoid because it is what we spend most of our time on. It's the only way we can fund all of these toys. But it is definitely kind of like a get in, make a lot of money, and then get out type of business.
Yeah, if you can do that. Yeah, some people definitely in the car business, I mean, you start making a lot of money, and it's definitely so hard to leave. I mean, I was out of the car business for 6 months, and then I ended up having to come back, you know, so it's one of those things. It's definitely hard to leave, but it's definitely a blessing as well, too.
You know what? I do want to start off with because I actually don't know this. How did you get to Cavender? Like, I just know that you used to work at Cavender Toyota, but I don't actually know like how you got in. Like, was it a friend? Like,
yeah, no, it's kind of like a crazy story. So, so I have a younger brother. He's 2 years younger than me, right? So me and my brother kind of everything in life we kind of always done the same. Most things in life I did them first, right? Because I was the older brother, and then my brother followed, right? So whether it was band in middle school or like football or whatever it was, but sales was kind of like the first thing that my brother did before me. He kind of took the jump. I kind of helped him get the job, right? But he took the jump, did door-to-door sales first, and then I kind of followed after that. Kind of saw that he was making a bunch of money. I'm like, how am I gonna let my little brother make more money than me, right? But we were doing that for 2 years, 2.5 years, and then it was kind of that point where we maybe were looking for something different because door-to-door sales wasn't what it was anymore, right? We used to work 20 hours a week and kind of maybe 20 hours a week. So there were definitely some days I would like knock a couple doors, sell something, and go home. But it just so happened that my brother had bought a car. It's kind of a car that I wanted, right? But at the time, right? But he ended up buying a car.
what kind of car?
It was a Camry XS. Well, I wanted a Camry XSE with a red interior. Oh, my bad. Camry XSE with the red interior, and then because I was obviously in door-to-door sales, I never had anything good on gas. I was driving a Jeep Wrangler at the time, right?
Horrible on gas.
Yeah, horrible. Not smooth whatsoever. Mine was a manual, right?
Was that the Rubicon or this is pre-Rubicon?
No, this is pre-Rubicon. I had like a little two-door 2009 manual Jeep Wrangler, roll-up windows, little screen with just pretty much the time and then whatever radio station we were on at that time. So basic little car, and that's what I was using to do door-to-door sales. And I really wanted that Camry. And then little brother went to go look at it at a dealership one day, and he said, you know what, I want it, right? So he bought one. A couple months later, he took it into service at Cavender, and then I don't work there anymore. So they hit his vehicle in service. Like a porter was driving it or something like that. They hit him, and then I just remember being at the gym down the street, and he calls me one day. He says, bro, pull up. They just hit my car, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I pulled up. He obviously tells me what happened, and then me being the older brother, I kind of had to figure out what's going on, how to de-escalate the situation. I called a homie that used to work there, and then I asked, I was like, bro, I know you don't work here anymore, but who should I talk to about this situation? And he pretty much told me to ask for like the GM of the store, right, like the highest guy out there. And then I didn't know, I just asked for him, and I remember a team lead came out, he tried to talk to me. I was like, you know what, bro, like, I appreciate you trying to help out, but you're really not the person I want to talk to, right? So some way, somehow, we got into this guy's office, right, this GM of the store, and me and my brother pretty much just wasted his whole entire day on just talking to him and kind of like just bullshitting, just talking about life and sales and whatever. He ended up offering us both the job, and me being the smart as I am, I was just like, nah, I'm good. It's definitely not what I want. I was definitely still trying to chase that like 20 hour a week job so I can kind of have my life, but then life happens, right? A couple months later, I had his card, I pulled it up, it just kind of hit that point where I'm like, you know what can I lose, right? So I called him up, I said, hey, I don't know if you remember me, just want to see.
He gave you his personal cell number?
Well, it was on his card. Yeah,
wow.
He gave me his business card, and then I called him up just randomly. I was like, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but me and my brother were with you that whole day, whatever. And he's like, oh, yeah, I remember. Of course he remembers, right? And he, I was just like, hey, like, I don't know if it's still on the table or not, but I just wanted to see if it's at all possible, if I can, kind of try it out, see if it's something that's worth doing. And he pretty much told me, yeah, like, apply. You don't even have to have an interview. He's like, just apply, you're hired. And then I started, and I mean, here we are almost 5.5 years later.
Okay, that's actually a pretty great story. Mine's a little bit less exciting. My girl wanted to sell cars, and I thought the idea was stupid too, which is pretty funny now, all things considered. And there was a family friend who also makes music. He made music with my dad for years. He worked at Nissan and Sierra, and I called him up, and he's like, yeah, we'll get you in, just apply online. Whenever I went to the website, it shows you all of the Ansieras, and I really didn't want to sell Nissans. Not that I think that Nissan's a bad brand. I just didn't feel like I could get like excited selling a Nissan. Like, oh my gosh, look at this little sedan. Like,
it's Altima, yeah.
And then so I saw the Dodge store, and I was like, I want to go to Dodge because I had a Charger and I loved it. My Charger didn't love me, but I love my Charger. I spent like $2,000 on maintenance every like 3 months on that Charger. It was like an extra like $8,000 a year. But I applied at the Dodge store. He still called them and got me in, and yeah, it was life-changing experience. Matured real fast, made a lot of money, and then whenever Dodge slowed down, they kind of crapped out because of all their bad decisions. I went to Toyota, but there's definitely like a love-hate relationship with the business, because you love the money, and when everything's good, it's good, but it's a roller coaster because when everything's bad, it's bad. And for people like us, I feel like
yeah,
we're already extremely like roller coaster people.
Yeah, you almost have to be desensitized like to the whole situation, because you have to know that, like, of course a manager is going to be on you. Of course they're going to want to, like, if that's the one thing we've always said, like, if you show somebody you can sell 30 cars, they're going to expect that every month. And I'm like, I don't even know 30 people in my life. Like, how am I supposed to sell 30 cars every month? But it's very much it's a love-hate relationship, like you said. It's just one of those things where, like, yes, like, this business very much has taken my life and thrown in a whole different direction. And maybe, yes, there's been times where maybe not as grateful as I should have been. Definitely some bad situations and stuff like that too. But I can't act like I'm not blessed. I can't act like I wouldn't be in the position I am currently without the car business. And then another thing too is, like, you almost build up some type of tough skin, and you almost change who you are. And how you do things now, because it's almost a lifestyle. I mean, we work. There's days we work, man, close out 48 hours in like back to back, 4 12-hour shifts. Like, sometimes it's like that. So it's definitely not something that's super easy to do. But if you can take full advantage of it, it's definitely a blessing if you can lock in and kind of, like I said, take advantage of it.
I think the relationships are also a big part of it too, because you do find, don't get me wrong, there are a bunch of lazy people in the car business, but you also find some like very, very driven people, like the manager that took me from Dodge to Toyota. And if I would have never made that move, we wouldn't be here, because it's also hard to find somebody like yourself who has like that drive, because everybody wants to do a podcast, but not everybody's like really willing to like get to it, like get all this stuff ready together, plan it out, like have the date and be like, all right, we're gonna do it this day, whatever else is around, let's just move it around.
Yeah, it literally just has to be like, we just have to start. And I mean, I think that's anything in life, right? Like we know that we're not going to be like great off the back. I mean, I was not good at selling anything right off the back. Like, it doesn't matter what I was selling at the time. I've sold a couple of different products, right? It wasn't always cars, right? And I definitely was not the best at it. The best at it, right? I definitely am a person that I like to feel confident in what I say. And if I don't know how to sell a product, if I don't know how to like point out certain things, it's kind of hard for me to do, right? But it's very much once you learn how to talk about certain things, and once you learn how to like just start and get kind of be okay with failing, I think that's the biggest thing, is like it kind of just changes your whole perspective on things. Like you just can't be scared to fail, and I think that's the same thing with this.
No, definitely. And you've developed, because you've been in the business for so long, you've developed your word tracks, and there's some things that need to be like quoted. And I want to get to that question that we originally were going to shoot this on a reel, but we didn't get a chance to do it. So I'm going to ask the question here. All right. And we had talked about it a little bit, because we were speaking about people wasting our time. And you had said something that kind of like stuck with me that I never even thought about. And I wonder why I just assume that people think the way that I do, but you can't assume that, especially in business, right? Is that sometimes the customers forget that we're people too. Like, they just look at us as salesmen. And I get it. Salesmen have a super bad rep. We're the asshole. I know that they look at us like the asshole, but you kind of forget that they don't look at us as like a person.
Yeah.
And you had to remind some people like, hey, I don't get paid hourly. Like, you're literally costing me money, and the amount of money that you're costing me is uncalculatable. I could be working a $2,000 deal, hitting my bonus, and getting another $500, and instead I'm sitting here with you. Like, you could be costing me $2,500 in the hour that I fucking wasted with you.
No, yeah, totally. And I remember the conversation too, and I always say that I kind of try to make it where my customers, I try to bring them down to where they can understand me from my perspective.
Don't forget to talk to them.
Oh, my bad.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. So I very much try to make it where my customers kind of. Well, I've been in the business for 5.5 years, right? So I very much. I always say that maybe I sell a whole lot more cars than everybody else, because I say the things that most people aren't willing to say. And that's just because a lot of people come from like, hey, it's customer service. We got to be super nice. We got to be this. But a lot of times too, I mean, you think about it, we're over here trying to build rapport, we're trying to learn our customers and who they are. We're trying to get to that personal level, right? But if we don't get to that personal level on both sides, if we don't let them know, hey, we're people too, at that point it's like, oh, people think it's okay to like, waste your time. I've had customers come out 2-3 hours. I had somebody the other day was like laughing and just going straight in circles, like 10 circles in a row, because she was testing the suspension on a Nissan Rogue with 20,000 miles, right? And I'm like, what are you doing? Right? But I always say this thing that's like, like, ma'am, sir, whatever it is, it doesn't matter if it takes me 10 minutes to sell you a car or 10 years to sell you a car, I get paid the same, right? So at that point, it's kind of like, hey, guys, like, I don't get paid hourly. Like, this is very much my livelihood. And maybe I don't have kids. Maybe I don't have anybody else particularly, depending on me. But it doesn't mean that, half the guys, or more than half the guys here, have a family. Then, they're not here away 12 hours away from their families just to be, talking with me and Jay, like, nah, like they're away from their families because they want to be able to make more than they would somewhere hourly, right? They don't want to be clocking in, clocking out, and then thinking about it. I made the same exact money I did yesterday. There's some days we don't make any money, There's some days that we make a lot of money. But it's all about the business. That's kind of the beauty of it, right? But we also kind of have to bring your customers back down to a personal level where they understand who you are too.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna get into the question, but I do want to say that about the hours. Is it so hard to calculate exactly, like, comparing us to an hourly job or like a salary job because the hours are so extended. It's like you can't just compare our salary or like how much we make to somebody who's working a 40-hour week because we're not working a 40-hour week. Like you said, we had 4 12-hour shifts back to back, and that was just in the second half. So they're like 60 to 70-hour weeks. So you would have to compare it to somebody, and not a lot of companies do this anymore, but somebody who's working a 70-hour week every single week, and then compare their overtime plus their hourly pay to ours, and you know, get an idea like that. So the hours are definitely like, it is hard to calculate, and I think that customers forget that, you know, and they kind of want us to do whatever they're asking without like being serious, you know,
or like proper reasoning behind it. Like,
yeah, proper reasoning. Yeah.
Like why? Okay, yes, I understand. You want me to do this. You want me to do that. You want me to, you want me to get under the vehicle and kind of do a 160-point inspection onto the vehicle right there in front of you, right? But ultimately, like, am I doing all this just because you want to make sure this vehicle is good, and then you're gonna go down the street and do the same thing somewhere else? Because at that point, I mean, somebody's time, whether it's my time or the guy down the street, you kind of wasted somebody's time, you know. And I get it too. It's a big purchase, right? It's a vehicle, right? It's $20, $30, $40, $50, $100,000 sometimes, right? But at the end of the day, you know, we work at a big dealership, so we don't have to feel like, hey, we're giving people, you know, crappy cars, or maybe deals that are not as good as they could have got somewhere else. Like, I feel like we're such a, it's kind of hard for a Toyota dealership to feel like we're taking advantage of some people, because Toyota in general is just like a high volume dealership, and I've only ever sold Toyotas, right? So all the Toyota stores in San Antonio are very much a volume store, right? So we're just trying to move units. We're trying to get as many units out as possible. We live in San Antonio where it's a competitive market, right? So at this point, people would think that we're trying to gouge their eyes out on these Corollas. I'm like, bro, like, invoice versus MSRP, there's not a whole lot. Like, what do you think we're making off of a Corolla, you know? Especially if you don't want tint, you don't want wheel arcs, whatever it is, you know? At that point, like, what are we doing?
Another thing, too, is a lot of people don't understand how dealerships work. They think that, like, they take the whole price of the car, and they think that that's what we're making, not understanding that we're not the manufacturer. We're the dealership.
Yeah.
So we're like the middleman. So we get the cars for like 95% of the price, and then we get like the 5% of the top. And that 5% of the top, we get even a smaller percentage of that.
Yeah, yeah, and then like, so you think, okay, well, you know, they should be able to take $2-3 off. Well, if I pass $1,000 off, it doesn't matter. Like, at this point, like, I'm getting paid minimum. Like, it doesn't matter. So like, there is also times where I'm like, guys, like, I get it. You're trying to fight for a little bit better deal, but at this point, there's no more room to move, and like, you can kind of see, like, maybe like older car dogs, right, or like people who've been in the business, where we kind of check out because we know that, like, we know that there comes a certain point where it's probably not going to be a deal, and we're all honestly kind of working too hard for something that may not be a deal, right? So there's kind of a balance there, and you kind of learn that the longer you're in the business.
Okay, so now we can go to the question, right?
Okay.
And this happened. The situation actually did happen. These people came on a Saturday, and I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that it was the last Saturday of the month.
Okay.
Last Saturday of the month, these people came, and they're like, hey, we're kicking tires. We're not trying to buy, but we want to test drive 2 used cars. How do you respond to these people politely and, not waste your own time?
And so they're openly honest about kicking tires?
Yes, yeah. They are openly honest. They are not trying to buy. It's the last day of the month, and they want to test drive 2 used cars. And it's not like our used cars to where everything is like, in our lot, you can pull out anything, right? In their lot, you have to pull out other vehicles to get to the other vehicle. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I get you, because you have like the 3-row parking spots, right? I know what you mean. I've seen it at other dealerships. Yeah, I mean, so it goes back down to the thing, right? Where, I mean, you have to pull yourself down to a human level, right? And be like, hey guys, like, and I would be honest, like, hey guys, it's the last day of the month, this is kind of my last chance to make a check, right, to pay my bills. I totally understand that, you wanna. I know you're not looking for a vehicle right now currently. Let me ask you, does it have to be today? And I would try to schedule something for another day. And then, you try to be as nice as possible about it, but ultimately, like, I also have to look for my best interest in mind too, right? Like, if I only have a set amount of time and you're already telling me that you don't want to buy a car, I almost want to put all my chips into something else and see, like, I'd rather take a chance and see maybe I can get something else. I mean, there are people who might be able to turn it into a car deal, right? Because some people do say, oh, we're just looking today, right? How many times have you got that? I'm just looking.
Yeah,
When you find the right
100%.
vehicle, and then at that point, it's kind of like, okay, like, you get the right salesperson, whatever it is, you put a little pizzazz on it. But if somebody's upfront and honest with you and telling you, like, hey, like, I probably don't want to buy, I mean, I can see it, like, especially, like, because sometimes, man, this business is a little stressful where the point where, like, you need to make some money. Like,
Bro, on a fucking Saturday, the last day of the month, the day that you know that you can make almost any deal. If somebody's there to buy a car, they're going to leave with a car on the last day of the month, especially a Saturday.
yeah. And then sometimes it's not even about, like, I'll post, like, hey, guys, like, I just need to give one more away. Like, somebody pull up. Like, it's more about my unit bonus. It's more about this. Or maybe about, sometimes they put us in competitions with each other, right? It's more about, like, hey, I need to beat the homie, like, whatever it is. Maybe there's a bet going on. So there are other motives behind selling like one more, two more cars, whatever it is at the end of the month. So I mean, it's a way you can maximize your it's a way you can maximize your pay structure, right? Because I mean, obviously, your customers already don't want us making profit on them, right? So if we can make money other ways, I mean, I think that's a more human way to make money, right? If I can get that one last unit or whatever it is to make the money, I think that makes sense. But
Have the dealership pay for it, not the customer.
yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so we've gone into like the car business stuff. Let's talk about fitness, right? Because that's obviously a big part of your life. It's a big part of my life, or I try to make it. I've been slacking a little bit. I went today. I went Sunday. I try to go every other day. Going into, I think you had told me it was like 2023 or maybe 2022. You said that you had really started trying to do like the fitness influencer stuff.
Oh yeah.
Right? And then because of other reasons.
Oh yeah.
Because of legal reasons, you had to shut everything down. What was kind of your goal whenever you were doing that? Because obviously you have like your strength goals, right? But on the fitness side, like what does that look like? Because I know for me, like in music, the thing that I want is I want to have a platinum record. I want to be able to put a plaque on the wall. So you going into the fitness like world, what is like the like end all be all of going into that?
I think the older I get, it's my fitness goals have changed a lot. I think earlier on out of high school, I was kind of doing more powerlifting, right? I just wanted to be as strong as possible, right? Didn't really care about my health, like no cardio, just eating whatever I wanted to eat. There came a time too where I was doing like just more bodybuilding. I wanted to have a physique, I wanted maybe eventually kind of like just jump on stage and stuff like that. I have some injuries now where I feel like maybe it's not the best scenario for me, especially like if I want to win, right? But now, so back then, I wanted to find a platform. Eventually, like, it's just more about getting out there, I think. There was no real set goals. I think my fitness is more, my fitness goals is more just to be happy with myself and kind of feel like I'm not. There's been times, man, where, like, I mean, I'm sure you've seen me, right? There's been times at the dealership where I'm a whole lot heavier than I am right now, and so there's times where you can kind of see where it kind of starts messing with my mental health too. So ultimately, like, I just like feeling good. I like being able to feel like, hey, like if I need to go run somewhere, and I'm not gonna run and then be breathing hard for 2-3 minutes, right? And then I think it's more too about your discipline, right? There's somebody at the dealership that they told me, like, hey, I saw something you posted. I really didn't want to work out after work, but I saw something you posted on Facebook about. I said you gotta be comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? And I think that's everything in life, right? Like it's this, right? Being uncomfortable with doing this. And so that's just kind of getting out of your comfort zone. But I also think too, it's like I told that same person, like, it's almost I've come to the point where I have to almost tell myself, like, make up reasons for me not to go to the gym. I very much will like say, oh, I'm not gonna cut the grass today. I'm gonna go to the gym. But I think I love that though, because I look forward to the gym. There's days where I wake up early, and that's the things I look forward to, right? It's my little playground for the day. Like, I love it, right? I get to go and take little pictures and feel like I look a whole lot better than I have been. It's more of like a mental thing where I'm like, hey, like I'm doing something. I'm getting better, right? And another thing, it just that discipline translates into everything else in life. I feel. Another thing too, I used to say it all the time. I haven't really said it much in the car business, but I say, what did I say? I said, if you look good, you feel good, and you feel good, you sell a lot of fucking cars. And that's just the way it is, right? I mean, you can act like maybe Andy Elliott or something like that has made same remarks like, oh, take off your shirt, right? And then whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it goes hand in hand, right? If you're not confident,
I'm a firm believer in that too. Look good, feel good. It's definitely true.
Yeah, for sure.
That is an interesting thing. You know what's crazy is I honestly think I don't really like working out. It's definitely I take the first word very seriously. It's definitely work to me. And maybe it's the workouts that I do. I like to tell myself it's because I actually go work out. But I've seen the weight that you do. I'm not this is maybe not towards you, but some people like going to the gym and they don't really work out, and I feel like whenever I'm in the gym, it's real stress. It's stress on my body. But I know that I have to do it because of the look good, feel good. If I don't look good, I'm not gonna feel good. I like to feel strong. I like to have definition in my body, in my arms, and so it's definitely work to me. What's your gym goal right now? Are you trying to cut? Are you trying to bulk? Are you just trying to be strong? For me, I'm trying to cut back a little bit. I don't want to be a hell of a lot lighter, because I see old pictures of myself where I was really, really cut. And some of that was due to substance abuse. But I miss having that definition. I would like to have that definition and keep my kind of same size right now. So I'm trying to lose maybe 5 to 10 pounds, maybe I'll lose 5 and I'll see how I kind of look at that point. I don't want to be too skinny, but I'm definitely going for the cut right now. If I can lose 5 pounds, within the next 2 months, and keep my weight without being unhealthy about it, because I know that if you really wanted to, you can starve yourself and you'll lose 5 pounds, and it won't be real walking around weight. It'll be because you starve yourself, not your natural weight. Drop 5 pounds of fat, straight fat.
Yeah, I think so. To understand my fitness goals, you kind of have to look back at me in the past, and I played defensive line in high school, right? I think my senior year, somewhere in there, I was maybe around 270, 280. I was a pretty heavy guy, and so after that, I think the working out it's always been there. Man, I remember being 12 years old and locking myself in my room and just doing a bunch of push-ups, a bunch of sit-ups, because that's all I had at the time. And what's funny is, now that I think about it, I very much did all that because I didn't like who I was at that point. I very much felt weak, and that's the reason why I locked my door. I remember that. And the funny thing is too is I think that even translates to my brother, because he used to do the same thing years later. And I just think it's one of those things. Yes, if you think there's certain things about working out that I do. I like feeling strong. I like feeling accomplished. There's certain things I had a goal and I beat it. Man, the other day I hadn't deadlifted. This is maybe a month ago. I hadn't deadlifted in months, right? And then I just wanted to prove myself that I was still strong, right? So I was maybe I don't need to deadlift more than 4. But then I started deadlifting, and I was man, this is light, And then I went to 455, and then it was 5, and then I remember I hit 5 plates for, I think it was 1 or whatever it was. I hit 5 plates for the first time in months, and I just felt so accomplished. I almost started tearing up in the gym. So it's definitely something where I just don't like the way I feel right now, and I'm trying to improve it, right? I'm trying to feel stronger. I'm trying to feel more disciplined. Excuse me. So there's certain things there. I think my current fitness goals is just to kind of, I wouldn't say I have a specific goal. I'm not trying to get to a specific weight. I think I want to look in the mirror every day, take my shirt off, and say I'm proud of all the work I've done. And am I 100% locked in? No, I mean, my diet's definitely never, ever been there. It's very, like, sporadic.
Dieting is a real tough part of it, and it's
Yeah.
it's a big part of it, and it's the toughest part.
Yeah, I did an hour of cardio last night, and I did not want to. It was more like me pushing myself, right? Hour on the stairs, right? But it's like, if you think I wanted to do that, I definitely didn't want to do that, right?
Yeah.
It's more just like, hey, I got through 30 minutes, and I was like, man, that was too easy. And if I don't push myself, like, how do I ever get better, you know? And so I think right now, so there was that point, that 2022, 2023 era, right, where I was trying to chase that fitness influencer, right? And I still have some of my videos on my Instagram where I am definitely a whole lot leaner than I am right now. I definitely think I'm tracking getting back there. But I feel like that was my all-time best when it came to overall physique, and I'm just chasing that feel good where I'm like, this is my best. This is my best package.
When you were at that physique, I gotta ask, because I feel like there was a lot of problems with me being as lean as I was. Were you at that point, or do you feel like that was like a healthy lean, or do you feel like you were a little bit like drained on the energy and you definitely were like losing some of your strength to be that lean?
Yeah, no, so that's the one thing. There was definitely some sacrifices, right? It was definitely like a kind of like an ego check. I feel like right now I'm kind of like doing it a little bit slower, where I'm still retaining most of my strength. But if you look at like one of my my Instagram posts, I'm like benching I'm inclining 70s, right? And that was pre like pec tear, right? I have a small pec tear, right? And so I'm like, man, I was only like 70s is like one of my first warm-up sets, like, you know. So like now and I was like, I remember pushing it, right? It looked like I was struggling. It looked like I was pushing some weight, but you look at the weights and it was only 70s. And so there was definitely some give and take. And that's another thing too, is like you almost have to like put yourself in check, because I very much have gone, you know, I put a lot of energy into time into certain goals, and then yeah, like you fall off, because I'm like, man, I'm losing my strength, and like I feel like if I lose my strength, I lose who I am, you know. And so there's certain things you do kind of have to like give and take, right? I wasn't doing any compound lifts. It was very much like, you know, it was very much the things that I hadn't been doing, because I used to focus solely on like powerlifting, so the compound movements and stuff like that. But it's all about just getting uncomfortable and just being uncomfortable, you know, being comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, so you were kind of at that point where you felt like you were sacrificed, and that's the tough part about the fitness stuff. It is like, okay, you can look how you want to look, but then you might not be lifting what you want to lift.
And it's all psychological too,
yes,
bro. That's the thing, yeah.
It'll go down that like human unsatis. I can't even think of like
you're just
word.
not happy. It's always give and take, right? And so that's the thing, is like that's the one thing, right? And we only have so much time in the day, right? So I always think about this, like if I put more time into this, that means my other things like are gonna lack, right? So if you're putting more effort in the gym, or like another thing too is if you're eating less, obviously you're gonna have less feel for your body, right? But it's always, you have to kind of keep in mind, like you have to keep in check, kind of slow down and be like, hey, like, what are my goals here? Am I taking a step back to take a couple of steps forward, or what am I doing? Because a lot of times too, like people don't realize, is like, I feel like your strength pops, like your strength and your muscles like definitely come back a whole lot quicker once you've already been that size, right?
Yeah.
So at least for men, at least for, I guess for my body type, right? It's harder for me to lose the fat, you know, and just kind of keep it off. And then I could always work back up from there. But there's also been a time where I was like heavy on the prescription, you know, my ADHD meds, right? So at that point I wasn't eating at all, and I was a whole lot leaner, but it was very much like a skinny and lengthy package that I thought it looked good at that time, but I look back and I'm like, yeah, never again. Like I definitely need to eat some calories.
That's the exact same way that I feel whenever I see the pictures of myself really lean. I'm like, damn, like I am cut, but I'm like really, really skinny, and I don't want to be that skinny again. That's why I think that 5 pounds is kind of like a healthy, like 5 pounds of like straight fat is a healthy goal, to where I'm not going to lose all of my energy. The self-control is a big part of it. I noticed that I'm eating more. I'm actually the heaviest right now that I've ever been. Whenever they did that, they had the weighing competition at work, I got on the scale and saw that I was 150, right? Which isn't a whole lot of weight, but I remember like whenever I was lean, my goal was to bulk up to 135 clean.
Oh,
So
yeah.
at that point, I was like 120. And then now I'm at 150, and I'm like, okay, well, now I'm way too bulked up. Like, I got to sit for my height, right? I'm not that tall of a dude. 145 is like a healthy weight, right? You look at the way that I was basing it off of at the time, like Gervonta Davis was fighting at 135. So I'm like, he's my height. If I can get to like that, weight, that would be healthy. But boxers do cut weight. So his walking around weight is a little bit.
Yeah, he's always going to be a little bit
Yeah, he's going to be a little bit heavier. So I'm like, okay, 145, I think I can like sit comfortably and not lose like my flexibility. I don't want to be one of those like short guys. It's like can't scratch his own back because he's too big.
Yeah, and I think another thing too is as men, right? And I'm like, I do it too. You see somebody else and you see how good they're doing it, right? And you really don't see everything that goes into it, right? Everybody can come up to me and ask me at work like, oh, what's the supplements you take and how do you do this and how do you do that? But you don't see that. I really. Man, if you let me, I will be in the gym 6 days a week. I have to force myself to take a day off. And yeah, there are days where I go in and maybe it's an hour of cardio and 30 minutes stretching and maybe some light arms and stuff like that. But it's very much like, hey, I just want to get there. I want to show up and I want to some way, somehow get better. But another thing too is like we have to keep in mind everybody's different. Everybody's body is different. There's nobody the same. Like even like you look at me and my brother. Me and my brother have the same parents, same everything, right? And you look at my brother and me, we have two different body types. Like we are both strong. We're both kind of bigger guys. We're around the same height. Maybe he's a little bit taller than me right now. I don't want to talk about it, right? But it's definitely one of those things where like, yeah, there's some days where he looks really good, and I mean there's days where I kind of look back at my best and I'm like, I gotta
kind of mog him.
I kind of feel like I look a little better, So it's one of those things you kind of have to be happy with your package, right? Happy with what you have, and I think that's all. It's a whole lot of like finding a way to improve yourself, but be happy with the way you're improving, and be happy with kind of looking at how far you've come too. Is like look back and be like, man, I'm so glad I didn't look like this guy anymore, So it's you have to find a way to be. Not be satisfied, but be happy about how far you've come.
That's a great way to put it. All right, and then stepping into the next thing, right, that we wanted to talk about was our sales goals. We kind of talked a lot about the car business in the beginning, so we can briefly go over this one. But how many cars do you want to sell this month, and how are you going to do it?
Yeah, so I just came, well, not just came off, right? But when was it? 2 months ago?
2 months ago, yeah.
In March, I finished off with, I wasn't even number 2. I was number 3 in the dealership, right? And so the fun fact, right?
Number 3 with no help, though.
Number 3 with no help, no cheese, and no fresh ups. Not one fresh up, right? It's all appointments.
And because most people don't know what this means, cheese is whenever you get a deal that's handed to you by a manager that you did not go find yourself. Yeah. So it's just kind of like somebody, giving you a little layup. Yeah, a little layup. Like here you go. Here's a little deal. So it was. I think it was like 30 car. Was it 29?
No.
You passed 30, right?
Yeah, 30 and a half, bro.
Okay. 30 and a half cars. With no help, finding your own leads. And against other guys who definitely have a little bit of help. Not to discredit what they do. It is hard to sell that many. You still have to work the deals. You still have to cater to these people, but. Finding the leads is definitely the hardest part about it. And
yeah, because I think another thing too is like not a lot of people don't realize like once you sell the cars, you have to find more customers, bro. And that was my biggest issue is that I was selling through my pipeline so quick that I was so stressed out because I'm like, where am I gonna get more customers? Like I was posting every day, like, hey, $200 referrals, come see me. Like I don't care, send me your people, whatever it is. Everybody's getting deals, come in, right? And so. I think another thing too is like I can't act like I'm super consistent because I'm definitely not consistent, right? I very much will take mental health months, and I mean the managers can think whatever they want, right? But at the end of the day, like my mental health comes first, right? And if I'm not feeling right, if I'm not feeling great, I know that I'm not gonna put my best performance on in front of a customer, right? I'm not gonna give them the best experience that they're gonna have.
There's no off season. It's like NBA players or football players. They have like that time where they go hard in the paint, they go through the playoffs, they win the championship, right? And then they get off for a few months. We don't have that.
Yeah.
So you have to give it to yourself. They're like, oh, just take a vacation for a week. Like, come back and you'll be fine. It's like...
But, bro, that's another thing, too, is like... And that's one thing I need to work on because I don't take vacations, bro. I don't take vacations.
You have PTO already there?
Oh yeah.
And you haven't used it? Yeah, you definitely need to use it.
Yeah, last year I cashed it out. Yeah,
Oh really?
Yeah, but I think it's more my anxiety, man, because I mean it's not like I've never taken a vacation, but I know that if you take so much time off, all the customers you were working before you left, they already bought. And then it's so much harder to get back into the flow of things, especially when you see everybody else is running like so much faster past you because you're just starting again, you know? So it's very much hard, right? We always say in the car business, it's 0 to 0, right? As soon as, and that's the thing too, man. You know how hard it is to want to sell another 30 cars when you sell 30 cars and you're trying to take a little break because you're exhausted, right? You feel like, man, like I don't even want to get out of bed this morning, right? And you come in and somebody tells you like, oh, you lay down, like, oh bro, like, yeah, like I'm tired, man, like, you know, do this stuff.
You know what, to be fair, and I haven't seen them do this with anybody else, but they did offer to give you the day off after the month.
Oh yeah, and the funny thing is,
how many days do you want off? They asked you.
I took 3 days off. And you know what's funny is I told them no. I told them no, and I still took the 3 days off. But I mean, like and that's the thing. You very much do have to have balance, right? And I know that like maybe I'm one of those people where I do have to take care of my mental health, right? But I also feel like maybe the things about my mental health will also make me a little bit better, right? A little bit more passionate about things I do. But it is hard. It's hard to be so consistent when it's hard to be consistent, and we kind of work in the middle of nowhere, right? So it's kind of like, oh, we're not just generating like traffic by itself, right? So it is very hard to be consistent in this business, and especially at our dealership, because our dealership is like the most aggressive Shark Tank ever, right? My brother works in another dealership, right? I've been there, and it's very much an
every dealership has that like aspect to it, but there's for sure levels to it because they squeeze everything they can out of the salesman. It does, like, it breeds that kind of environment, and then it all trickles down and everybody gets used to it and it starts to seem like it's normal, even though it's not. But it is definitely a Shark Tank.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, what other dealership? Well, most dealerships won't even have one 20-car person. I remember being at my first dealership, and I remember there was the end of the month meeting, and number one, 13 and a half or 16 and a half, whatever it was, like crazy. And I'm like, what? I'm like, that's insane, right? Because I mean, there's been a week where I've sold that here, you know. But you look at our meetings at the end of the month, our rankings, and they do the rankings every day, right? And it's like you have 10 or 15, or maybe sometimes even a crazy month, 20 car salespeople, you know. And so it's so competitive. And you're not only like competing with like young guys, you're competing with people who've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
Like they are built for this. Like they know that they're gonna die a car dog. And so like I'm like, how do I beat the guy?
They will live and die at the dealership. Yeah.
How do I beat the guy that this is his life? You know, this is not my life. I'm good at it. I'm great at it, right? But this is not like my end all be all. So how do I beat that guy?
Yeah, I'm just in a relationship. I don't have kids. I don't understand how these guys who have families like live at the dealership. Like I can't, bro. I can't. They don't take a day off. They come in early, and it's like, Jesus. Like, I get it. You know, you want to make money, but when do you like make time to live life? And it's because they don't really care about anything else other than kind of making money and doing what they do. Me, I have music, and I have friends and family that I want to see. I take pride in the relationships that I've built with people, like my bonds. So it's real hard for me to. I try to give it my 100% while I'm there at work, but going in on my day off, unless I know there's a deal, it's like shit. Like why?
Yeah.
I have so much other things that I care about way more than selling a car. I get it. I want to make money and I care about my livelihood and taking care of my bills, but it's not like everything to me. It's not the world. It's not like I wake up and I think like,
oh, I want to sell a car.
Yeah. It's just like I wake up and I got to go to work, and now that I'm here, like now I need to sell a car.
Yeah, and it's you. So that's my one rule is like, man, there'll be times at the end of the month where like you look at the schedule and it says like minimum this much to take your day off, and bro, I'll still take my day off.
They do that at North Park? Or at Cavender they did that?
No, at North Park, yeah.
Really?
Well, I haven't been checking the schedule, right? Because I I won't look at it regardless, right? But
I haven't seen that, but I know that, sometimes when guys are real behind, and I don't think you've ever been there. They'll call you and tell you, why aren't you here?
Why aren't you here? Like,
yeah, you got an hour to show up or you lose your job.
I've heard that, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've heard that, yeah. And it's very much like, hey, like, they only see us sales. And that's the same thing. Like, why don't, like, we have to bring our customers to make us seem like human beings. But sometimes we have to, like, get our managers to kind of see the same thing. And sometimes I have to guilt trip a manager. Like, bro, like, I'm going crazy. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, like, I'm sorry. But, like, I need this. And I very much will not. It's rare. I will. I'm not going to act like I won't go on my day off. But it's very, very rare I'll go on my day off because I know that if I do, I'm gonna feel it. Like,
you're going to be burnt out the next day. You almost, like, you go in that day and you might sacrifice the next day.
And another thing, too, is the people who, like, I hate whenever you go and thinking like, oh, I'm gonna go in real quick just to deliver this car and then leave. But bro, when does it ever act?
It's never that quick. You think that like, okay, everything's done and all of the paperwork's been signed. You're just gonna hand them the keys, put on the plates, and then it always ends up being, oh no, you got to do this, you got to do that. The paperwork's messed up because they put the wrong. The date has changed now, so we got to re-sign them.
Like, okay, well, like...
and a bird took a shit on the car that you already washed, so now you gotta go put it through the wash again.
And they want fresh gas, right? Or something,
fresh gas, yeah.
Something crazy, but... No, it's definitely
the car that you sold, somebody else sold it. Now you have to go find another one before your customer comes in.
You gotta go dealer trade with another, like a dealer to get that same exact vehicle, and then you're gonna get it there, and they're gonna be like, well, why does it have 56 miles on it? I thought you said it was brand new. And like, bro, I had to drive it from Austin, dog. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, 100%. All right, and then so we went over the fitness goals, the dealership
we already
goals.
talked about the selling goals, right? I mean, I want to sell another 30 cars. I'm just going to say that.
You want to sell another 30 cars. I'm going to do 15. I never sold 15, so I'm going to just set my goals realistic, right? Like a year and a half in the game, I don't see myself doing 30 cars. I'm just not willing to put in the extra work to do it.
Yeah, and it's very much extra work.
Oh, in all honesty, so if I can sell a good 15 cars and make enough money for some more toys and to fund all of my different projects like the podcast and my music, then I'll be fine and then pay my bills, whatever. So I want to do 15. And then so the last thing that we wanted to talk about was kind of like what the podcast was going to be. I want it to be a self-improvement podcast, not only for us, but like, giving advice and holding ourselves accountable, kind of putting it out there, and then what we do, and maybe somebody can take that in and, use it to themselves or turn it around and kind of put their own spin to it, but track themselves as well. And, kind of have to answer for it, because you could tell yourself, oh, okay, I want to, personally, like, I want to drop 2 songs, or I want to make 2 songs in the next 2 weeks. Whenever we come back, in 2 weeks, it's like, all right, did I drop the 2 songs? Did I not? Like,
yeah, and another thing too is I think the nice thing about doing this, right? It's out there, right? Like,
yeah,
and then right, and it's gonna be cool thinking that maybe somewhere down the line, one of the homies is gonna be watching and be like, hey, did you put out those 2 songs? Right?
Yeah. Whenever the chat starts developing, that we don't even have pulled up.
Yeah.
Whenever the chat starts developing, like, hey, last episode you said that you were gonna do this. Did you do it? And it's like, oh. Sorry, guys, I didn't. Or we can say, we did end up doing it. This is how we did it, to remind ourselves, like, what worked for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I think another thing, too, is I kind of want to get a little vulnerable with it, right? Because, man, it's June. It's Men's Mental Health Month, right?
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's one of those things, too, like, with us being in sales, it's very much a mental game, right? And I'm not saying that this won't translate into somebody else's, work or life or whatever it is. I think the lessons I've learned from sales has translated all the way through my life, right? Like, accepting rejections and different stuff like that or whatever it is. And so I kind of want to get a little bit deeper, right? And maybe for car salesmen and maybe for people in sales, maybe just for the homies or whatever it is. But I kind of want to talk about the daily struggles, Like, and I'll be vulnerable. I'm an open book, right? If you know me, I will tell you what is going on. You will hear what's going on. I promise you that. So it's one of those things like one, it's me holding myself accountable, me looking back and be like, okay, this is where I was at back then, right? And kind of trying to progress from there, right? Because I always say if you don't plan to win, you plan to fail, right? So if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. It's what is it? The law of it's a law. It's one of those laws. Laws of
attraction.
It's
the 48 laws of power.
No. Next podcast we'll talk about it. But like, yeah, it's nothing is neutral, right? You're either moving forward or you're moving backwards in life, right? So it's one of those things I want to have something where we can talk about what we want out of this, what we want out of life, and then kind of like just talk about like. I mean, we can do a follow-up video and like, hey guys, like I'm halfway through my month, 30 car month. My last 30 car month, I was very much tracking like 40 something cars.
In the beginning, yeah. A lot of those came from the first half. I remember that.
Yeah, I finished the halfway point. We had that. You
had like 20 in the first half.
21. I remember going to that Toyota training with all the other dealerships there, right? And I was just talking my mess, and then they were like, well,
I wish I could have been there. Brandon told me about it too.
And I was like, they were like, well, how many cars do you at? I was like, well, I'm only at 21 and a half, and it's the 16th or whatever it is, right? And everyone's like, you're at 21 and a half. Like, most of these dealerships
all the salesmen are like, what, he's full of shit. What a put together.
Right. And I remember like somebody talking to Wyatt and all the other guys in one of the test drives, and they were like, man, that guy, he probably doesn't sell. And they're like, nope. He sells 20. Yeah, he's at 20
21 and a half right now.
And he's really good.
We could pull up the email.
Yeah. We'll show you the rankings, But it's one of those things like, man, after that halfway point, I very much burned out. It's so hard, bro. And I can't act like I didn't. There's somebody who I know personally, and he kind of like threw a little bit of shade. He's like, yeah, you sold 30 and a half cars. He's like, but you could have hit 40. And I'm like, dude, you've never sold 20 cars before in your life. But, I totally get it.
You could have hit 40, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, yeah, all of a sudden.
They should hire you for management.
Oh, yeah, bro, you're on to something here, But, yeah, it's just one of those things where, like, I kind of want to, like, just be honest, be vulnerable, and like hopefully like somebody gets something from it, right? Ultimately, this is for me. This is for Jay, right? This is for us trying to better ourselves and get uncomfortable. And if this platform gives us the ability to help somebody else out through what we're talking about, I mean, that's what we're here for. That's always a plus. So that's kind of the goal. Kind of get vulnerable, mental health, stuff like that, personal goals, and just kind of figuring out a way to push past those mental barriers and a lot of the stuff that we've kind of trained ourselves to be over the years, and kind of growing from that.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're gonna touch on enough topics that it will provide value to somebody out there, whether they're an artist, somebody who's trying to do fitness, somebody who's also in sales, or just sales jobs. They're different than regular jobs, right? But there are a lot of topics will cross over. So we're going to touch on everything, and it's going to be catered to men, but obviously, like, if women get something out of it, then they get something out of it. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about relationships. I'm in a relationship. Jaime's not, so definitely like a compare and contrast there to, what the dating market is like, and then what being in a relationship is like. So, going over those things, I think that we will provide value to ourselves mainly, but also to other people. And we're open to suggestions too. Anything that if you have an idea or you think that would be interesting for us to talk about something, you can put it in the comments. Maybe world news a little bit if a topic is like worth, if we're excited about it and we feel like we have a lot to say about
the Spurs. No, yeah. And then another thing too, like if y'all know us personally, right, the dealership homies or just personal homies or family,
we apologize.
Nah, this is me, guys. This is me. Yeah, I'm where I need to be right now, guys. So I'm not apologizing, but if you're watching, and then y'all know us, too. So if there's anything y'all think might help us out and kind of things that we talk about, I'm super forgetful, right? So sometimes I forget about the traumas I've been through and like the things I've had to go through to kind of get here, right? So if there's anything that maybe y'all want to us to touch a little bit more on or talk about and kind of like express like how we've gone through these things, we're open to hearing it. I definitely need more ideas. There's definitely going to be more episodes to come and stuff like that. But we're just gonna keep on going. We're gonna keep this going. I think this definitely is going in the right direction that I've always wanted it to go, right? Because I've been wanting to do this for a while. It's just obviously not having all this extra stuff to do it. But it's one of those things I feel like we're where we need to be right in life. I think this is a perfect time to start doing it because we're both at the kind of a good point in our life where we can kind of talk about. We're at a good point in our life where we know we still have so much more to grow, but we've also come so far. So we can talk about those past experiences and how we're gonna get to the next level, right? But
Yeah.
some good topics to come for sure.
The next level is definitely the hardest point from here. It's you know, we have our own place, we have nice cars. How do we get, you know, across that barrier that most people never get to? That's the thing, right? It's like 90% of the population will get here, and we've gotten there in our 20s. How do we get to the next stage where most, you know, that top 10% of people only get to?
Yeah, and just real quick before we, I don't know how much longer we're gonna do this, but before we go, I think the biggest thing is, right, for like when we're doing that, to make it as easy as possible. I just think that a lot of us, we just think too small. We don't believe that we can, and but if we never start, how do we even know if we can, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
that's why we're here.
Okay, well, that's gonna conclude the first episode. Hopefully, if you listen to this, you enjoyed it. We're gonna take off, and we'll see you guys in the next one.